Welcome back to the Hemp Lucy podcast. I'm your host, Chase Hudson. Today, we have a really exciting episode. We're going to dive into all things functional mushrooms. And today, we're mixing things up a little bit. I decided to bring in an expert in the fields, one of my really good friends, and someone who has been in the industry for 10, 15 years, years now. So, real excited for today. So we have Jamie here, and Jamie is the founder and CEO of a company called Whole Sun Wellness. She has a extremely popular retail brand that is just absolutely dominating across the country. And she is also a bulk supplier to a number of companies out there. So Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, glad you're here too. So yeah, let's get into it. Why mushrooms? Like, tell us your journey, how you got into it, and then the creation of this like mushroom empire that you've been able to build, and what sets you apart from everybody else.
Right. So I've always been raised around natural medicine. When I was little, my grandmother worked on, volunteered on a lot of tribal nations. So she would drag me around with her all the time. We'd make all of our own medicine. I didn't even know what a supplement was until right before I started my company. When I walked into a local store here trying to find a product for pain. And my adventure with mushrooms back then, I knew what mushrooms were, but I didn't know how cool mushrooms were. It's like, oh yeah, mushrooms, that's great. It wasn't until I went through my own health challenges with the Crohn's colitis that I had, which I've been in remission for over a decade.
Wow.
All through chaga. That is what got me into mushrooms. But yeah, so I ended up working for a pretty big US mushroom company doing demos. And during that time, of course, I was learning more and more about mushrooms. I was already dealing with my own health issues. At this point, I was like 90 pounds. They wanted to do a J pouch where they want to remove my colon. And I was like, hell no, you are not removing anything out of my body.
Right.
And I was already taking other things. But at this time, I walked into this health food store. Next thing I know, they offered me a part-time job. And I'm just like, what the heck is all of this stuff in here? And of course, I gravitated to mushrooms for my own health. And I started making my own chaga tea. I was buying it by, like the pounds, the little, chaga chunks. I was literally drinking, eating, and making tinctures for about 12 months before I actually even went into full remission. It was a very long process. I will say I love chaga, but I will not take chaga anymore. I had so much chaga in my life. I'm just like, no, no more chaga. But it cured me in a sense. That's been over a decade ago, but that is how it started for me.
Wow. Going
into a store because I was dealing with my own health issues and, seeing the wall of supplements. And then for some reason, my body, I just was gravitated. And then next thing I know, I'm working for a mushroom company doing their demos. And then next thing I know, I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to do this better.
Right.
I want to do this different. So I took $10,000 on my credit card and had no idea what I was doing. Started my own mushroom company. Cost me my marriage and all kinds of stuff, but hey, it was great. But then when I started diving into the mushroom space, primarily everything on the market was mycelium on grain, which I'm not going to say that process is not good. There's many processes like pure mycelium, which we do without the grain, and then the fruiting bodies, which is more commonly now a lot of people are gravitating to because it's the actual mushroom. It's not the root. But so when I started my company, that's all there was really. There was a few companies doing the fruiting bodies, but not many. And so I was like, no, I want to start my own company. I want to focus on the actual mushroom because that's where a lot of the micronutrients, the medicinal compounds, everything that you're looking for to be healthy, and all the studies you see, that is primarily where it's coming from. So I started the company. When I started the company, I never thought I was going to become my own supplier and have this global supply chain. I just thought I would buy from a middleman like most people do.
Right.
They buy from a distributor. They vet the quality, see if it's good for them, the cost that they put it in their product. Well, that's not what happened with me. The first 6 months, I did not know where my mushrooms were coming from, and it was driving me nuts. The company I was sourcing from, they were very vague. They couldn't answer questions.
Right.
So I got a wild spore and decided to travel to Asia and obviously other countries now. And I built out my own supply chain. So we are now direct trade. We know all of our farmers. They grow exclusively for my company.
Right.
We are in charge of all of our own extraction, our SOPs, everything. So it went from me just wanting a retail brand, like a lot of people, putting a good product out to help people, to all of a sudden now doing every aspect from start to finish.
Right.
And so being a supplier for other companies has been very beneficial because I feel good about the quality they're getting. Their customers feel the quality. And then they're also supporting a bigger picture.
Right.
The farmers.
Right.
The people that need this, sustainability. We have a lot of farms overseas, anywhere part of Asia to Europe, India, all that. But over the last 6-7 years, I also built out a domestic supply chain here in the US. So that's how it all started, from my health to wanting to offer something different, something better, and to really be in touch with mushrooms because they're phenomenal, to then always not being happy without like better quality, right? And so I became a supplier. Then we were the first company to set the standards on testing in the mushroom space.
Yeah, I remember that.
We were the first to start testing outside of the Beta-Glucans, which we'll talk a little bit about later. We were the first company ever to test for nutritional profile, not just the like Beta-Glucans and heavy metals. We were the first to test for additives in products. So there's just a lot of
like fillers.
Yes.
I know there's like a big issue with that.
It probably about 90% of what's coming into the US all has dextrin. Another problem is, and so with the mycelium on grain, it automatically has fillers because of the grain, right? Because it's grown on the grain and processed. But a lot of the fruiting body suppliers have dextrin, and they don't have to disclose it. I always tell people, if you're gonna supply, or you're a company that wants to launch mushrooms, or even a consumer, ask these questions. What else is in my product? So recently, Chase, this is so crazy. I have been talking loud as I can about dextrin for over 6 years. We even put it on our labels, advertise like dextrin free. Over the last 6 years, I've been shouting really loud about dextrin. Well, then companies have gotten pretty sly. Not retail companies, like the suppliers.
Right.
They are now adding lactose.
Whoa.
So lactose is an issue. And, it gives false positives of beta-glucans. Same with the dextrin. And that's why they do it.
That's tricky.
And
that's
so
dirty.
So over the years, when I started my company, I was just kind of on this hoorah of like, no, I want better quality. When I found out, I was working for the company doing demos for them. I was in a mushroom bubble because when I realized what I was offering to people and educating, I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. There's no mushroom in this product. What the hell is in here?
Yeah.
And it pissed me off so bad. I went back to my hotel room because I was at a big trade show. And within 6 months, I launched my own company. We went into clinics before stores. We are now one of the probably only mushroom company in North America that has been partnered with cancer clinics, psychiatry, family medicine for over 8+ years now.
Yeah.
You know?
That's incredible. Yeah. I think that's just those partnerships are a real testament to, you wanting to provide the cleanest, purest product you possibly can on the market.
Right.
And it's been fun to watch your journey Because I met you like 12 years ago.
Oh my God, I've known you for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. And it was like at that point, I think you were just coming out of that other company. You kind of just launched. And then from there, it's just been fun to watch your journey of traveling the world, finding the right farms, growers, making sure, you can support those people through your business. This relationship that you formed with growers across the entire planet is like, it's really cool to see. And you're like the mushroom queen of Utah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, that's why I had to have you on, because like, dude,
and we do the festival, but I try to do the Utah Fungi Festival every other year because it's me trying to put it on. And like this year I was supposed to do it again, and I just don't have the bandwidth this year. Yeah. Got to get the Utah people to like step up and say, let's talk about mushrooms.
Yeah, Utah people are weird. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like everyone wants to, they
just don't want to help.
Yeah, it's bizarre. We deal with that in our space.
I know.
We were trying to put a coalition together, and I was trying to head it up and bring everybody together. And when it came down to like actually being involved, it's like everyone just didn't want to be involved. So it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but
they want to attend and have fun.
Yeah.
I think the reality is though, is everybody is living such a fast-paced life. They have kids, families, and it's like constant go, 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 go. And so, and especially too with Utah's cost of living, and our minimum wage is still $7. Come on. Like people just, they're exhausted, and so I get it. But I mean, I do feel like we have a great community here in Utah. I just wish we could have more support in events like this, because it's so educational.
Definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like education is obviously the foundation of like all supplements. And, especially in our industry with cannabis, there is this stigma that CBD is marijuana and will get you high. And in your industry, it's people hear mushrooms and they think psychedelics. So where do you think that like that stigma came from, and why do you think that stigma still sticks today?
Honestly, I think it's the older generation, and also too, the younger generation. Like, think about psychedelics right now. They're becoming more mainstream. Everyone's talking about it. I think when cannabis got like out there, especially here in Utah, it's like, whoa, that was such a big step forward. Right. And then all of a sudden, bam, right after cannabis, let's talk about psychedelics. Right. And now we're having all these events here. And it's not just Utah, it's everywhere. Right. And, and I see this a lot with our customers that are older. Even some younger kid, like 20-year-olds, when they're like, oh, does this have psilocybin in it? No, it's not. Right. But when you say mushrooms, back in the day, like I was telling you earlier, they used to run paid ads or commercials that mushrooms had no benefit. It was just primarily water. And this was in the 70s. So people ate mushrooms. I mean, people used to eat raw mushrooms on salads. You should never do that. You should never eat raw mushrooms. But there was a lot like back then, in that generation, and it's definitely trickled over, is back then it was like, oh, you think mushrooms is something the hippies were doing, psychedelics, or it was mold.
Mold, interesting.
Like food mold. And toxic and stuff. Yeah. So what I've noticed with a lot of customers when and like, say, I don't do demos much anymore. I have a team now that does that. But when I used to do the demos all the time, they were like, oh, I'm allergic to mushrooms because of the mold. I'm like, there is no mold in our products. Like, we don't process, but mushrooms are known for getting mold, like easily. Mold grows very quickly on mushrooms. So I feel like there's that stigma. But then too, just like what we were saying is, you say mushrooms, people automatically go to the psychedelic. And I do think that was just from an older generation, the era back then. And now, and in all fairness too, medicinal mushrooms never had a place in the market for a long time here in the US. It's only been probably the last decade that mushrooms are here. I mean, there's been companies that have been here for over a decade. But they weren't like, oh, mushrooms. Right. It's never been something here in the US that's been embraced, like in Europe and Asia. Where you go over to Europe and Asia, you say mushrooms, nobody thinks psychedelics. They think functional mushrooms. And so now we're in this state of where mushrooms are becoming huge in the US. It's set to be the number one functional food with over an $80 billion growth in the next years, right? Functional mushrooms.
Right.
And it's so mainstream now. We're in this shroom boom that now more people are getting more educated on it and saying, oh, yeah, that's cool. Lion's mane.
Yeah.
But the psychedelic aspect,
right,
I think just comes from the lack of that we've never been really integrated with mushrooms.
True.
And in medicine.
True.
And mushrooms in the US has always been referred to psilocybin.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably thank the war on drugs for that.
Oh yeah.
And then also, that propaganda, I mean, the amount of damage that the war on drugs propaganda has done to our country is, I think like in 100 years, when we look back at this time, it's going to just be like, oh my gosh, like, it was the dark times. Like they were living in the dark times.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see this like correction happen within our culture with the functional side of mushrooms and this like lion's mane and cordyceps and reishi and maitake and turkey tail, and how it's like becoming so integrated with our culture.
Right.
And the amount of people that we get interested in mushrooms, because we have mushrooms in some of our products.
I know.
It's actually, it's really exciting. So yeah, thank goodness for the shift in culture and
and it's just gonna keep getting better. There's a lot more I feel like more education, more research, and not just for supplements. There's now mushroom packaging and mushroom building materials. You know, like with our farmers that we work with, we're a zero waste. You know, we take the spent substrates and we're now breaking it down into livestock nutrients for feed for cows and other things, or compost for your soil. And so there's all these different avenues when it comes to fungi than just supplementation. But at the end of the day, functional mushrooms, I really feel, will outgrow the psychedelic space because this is something you can take every single day.
Yeah, agree. Totally agree. And I mean, the amount of species that exist in the mushroom space is like,
it's ridiculous. As a
insanity.
As a supplier, you know, again, in the US, a lot of people only know certain species because that's what they see in the stores. With our catalog, we have so many exotic species that no one's ever heard about, right? They're like, what the heck is Xingling? What's shaggy mane? You know, what is
heard of it.
All this, like wood air, black fungus, all this. And I'm just, these are exotic mushrooms that are high in vitamins and nutrients that have been around forever in medicine. But again, we still here in the US have a lot more expansion because we have like the ones that most people know about, but there's still 30, 40 other species that you never hear about in the US. I try to implement those a lot in my retail formulas I do, because I want someone to look at my formulas, because we only do mushrooms. You know that. Like we don't do anything else. And when they look at our formulas, like, whoa, I've never heard of that mushroom. What does it do? Well, hey, let's educate you on that. You know, it really is cool seeing like the light bulb. And like people getting really excited. And so I just think, you know, it's all going to be education.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, definitely educate. So on the education part, you know, I feel like over the last few years, there's been this, I don't know if it's necessarily like an argument within the functional mushroom space, but at first it was like you wanted products that were grown from mycelium, and then that like transitioned and shifted into like fruiting bodies. And then it was like, well, yes, fruiting bodies, but there's also harmful other, you know, I don't want micronutrients that can be, you know, detrimental into your body from the fruiting body. So like if you can educate us on like the fruiting bodies and the mycelium and like overall, what is the best product?
Okay.
Like what should What should we be looking for when we're buying
shopping in the wall of shrooms?
Yeah.
So I will be the first to admit, when I started my company, I was on a fruiting body rampage. I was like, hell no. I will never put mycelium in my product.
I remember that.
And I was so naive.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this. I mean, I like had to put my ego down. And over the years of research, I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And so again, but then when I started my company, the only option for mycelium was the mycelium that's grown on grain or oats. I did not want fillers in my product. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, research out there in companies saying, well, hey, the mycelium actually digests the grain and oats. So then none of that biomass is left. But we've seen a lot of testing showing differently. So it's just kind of, there's a lot of bickering in the industry, like MOG compared to fruiting body. My whole look on it is, yes, you want the fruiting body because it carries over 80+% of all the micronutrients, the beta-glucans, all the active compounds. So for example, like cordycepian is in cordyceps. It's one of the main compounds. It's in the fruit. It's not in the mycelium. And I know what you're talking about recently. There's been some people saying my fruiting body is toxic. That is far from true. There's more clinical research for centuries, like forever, showing how effective and how healthy fruiting bodies are for us. We're very genetically connected to them, right? Our DNA. And so I know lately a lot of people are saying, oh, there's some toxic stuff because it's usually their companies up against each other. So they're trying to like,
of course,
it's just awful.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're a consumer, yes, you want a product that has the fruiting bodies and you want to make sure that they're extracted because your body cannot process a dried fruiting body powder.
Okay. So that seems to be like probably the most important part.
A lot of companies claim fruiting body, but they're actually just a dried powder. So this mushroom right here, here's reishi. It's seen better days. I've had this since 2017 from our farm. But if I took this reishi and I grinded it up and put it in a powder, I might be getting a little bit of fiber and stuff like that, but I'm not able to break it down. It's not bioavailable. The fiber is just too harsh to break down in your body.
But companies are labeling that as a fruiting body. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the extraction part that people need to pay attention to.
Right.
Okay.
They need to verify it because it's really confusing. I'll even go into a store and I always look at competitors. And some of them will just say, you know, reishi powder. That's usually a red flag that it's not an extract. You really want to make sure on the label that it's clarifying what kind of extraction is being done. You need to make sure it's been some kind of heat process. I mean, and if you want to buy a powder, go ahead, but then you go home and you heat it, put it in coffee, put it in a tea, cook with it. You need to activate it, right? To make the fiber bioavailable so you can digest it correctly. Because you're not going to be able to do it without having that step. That's why you cook mushrooms too, you know? And so fruiting bodies are very important, but let's talk about mycelium. Now, fruiting bodies is going to be the main, you know, shebang. It's going to have your nutrients, everything. But here's where I was very naive. Over the years, you know, I was like, everything's in the fruit. That's all I want.
Right.
And then the longer I had my company and the more education and lectures and research I was doing, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Mycelium does have some amazing enzymes and compounds that you can't get from the fruiting body.
Got it.
So perfect example, lion's mane. You really need to be taking both the mycelium and the fruiting body to get the neuropathy aspect, the nerve growth factor. And my biggest thing, here's what I like as a company that I'm a little over the top. Well, at that point, when I started doing my own research going, okay, well, I think I need to start adding mycelium in with the fruiting bodies, but I don't want to add something that has a substrate attached to it.
Right.
So it took us a long time, but then in 2022, we were the first company globally to launch what's called pure mycelium It's a little tag name I made for it.
Great.
But it's liquid fermentation mycelium
Okay.
without no substrate. It's just the root system. We were the first to get an organic certification on a root. It is so crazy, Chase.
Wow.
I mean, and I think it helped that the inspector was a botanist. He knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Definitely helps.
so we have both in our product now, but we're always going to have more of the fruit. And so like, say somebody loves your product and they're like, gosh, you know, like they would still be fine just taking your fruiting bodies. You know, lion's mane is the only one I really try to push people to kind of combine. So, you know, do lion's mane, but try to do both.
Right.
Do both of them because there's certain strains. So I can't really say one is better than the other. If you're still at the end of the day, if all you were doing was fruiting bodies, that's it. You're still going to feel amazing. You're still going to help with health issues. I mean, with the cancer clinics we work with, we never started introducing mycelium until much later, like after 2022. And all the results that we were seeing with patients, I mean, of course, I couldn't know the patients' names because of privacy. Right. They were still exceeding, even with lion's mane. So you just, at the end of the day, you need to know where the company is, how they're processing it. Are they getting it growing on wood? Are they growing on grain? What are they doing? And just having that traceability. Sorry.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So
yeah.
So in the fruiting body, is that where most of the beta-glucans are? Okay.
Yeah. So mycelium does have a small amount because you got to think it's like the root system and it's what's building the mushroom. It's like bloodline, right? That probably sounds weird to call it that, but
it's all connected. It's all one.
Right, just like any vegetable or anything. So yeah, the mycelium will have some beta-glucans, but primarily like with this mushroom, if you look around, you know, here's the cell structure of the mushroom. It is the fibrous wall. It's called the chitin. 50% of all beta-glucans are in the housing of a mushroom.
Okay.
So when you think of beta-glucans and how it's going to help you, beta-glucans, I always tell people when you see beta-glucans or you think of beta-glucans, you see it on the label, you need to automatically say, oh, that's the immune system of the mushroom. And in turn, it's going to help my immune system.
Interesting. Okay.
So I always try to educate more on a different level than like the scientific aspect. Like look at it like this. 50% is the beta-glucans in the fibrous wall. This is why we extract it. So it's bioavailable and you're extracting the beta-glucans out correctly.
Got it.
It is the immune system of the mushroom.
Got it.
Also helps with your immune system. It is the number one thing for immune support. It also helps with healthy bacteria in your gut because of the fiber that's been broken down. Okay. So beta-glucans are also great for that. Now, beta-glucans is only one aspect of a mushroom, right? So with cannabis or CBD, you have different cannabinoids, right? And I don't know much about that stuff, but mushrooms are a lot like the same. When you get a product, this is also what you want to find out. Are they using the full encompass of the mushroom extraction? Because think about it. So you get the beta-glucans. If somebody is only isolating the beta-glucans, you're not getting a therapeutic product. So when we talked about like even triterpenoids in here, if we just pulled out the beta-glucans and isolated, well, you're missing all these other active compounds that are just like this cannabis.
Just like in the CBD isolate.
Right. Yeah. And so I always tell people beta-glucans is the housing. It's the immune system of the mushroom that also in turns help with your immune system, gut support, everything like that. But at the end of the day, because extraction is so important, you want all the other active constituents, compounds. And if you don't get those through extraction, you're not getting, you're getting immune support, basically.
Yeah. Immune support and, technically an inferior product.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think it's cool. The mushroom world is kind of similar to the cannabis world in that sense, where it's like you want the full spectrum.
Right.
Like that is where you're going to get kind of the most bang for your buck.
Right.
And I guess you could say, you give the body all these extra micronutrients to help heal itself instead of just a single isolated compound.
Well, that's why fruiting body products, like if you're gonna do a mushroom product, you need to look for a fruiting body extract. Ideally, it would be good to have a product that has the mycelium and fruit mix like we do on our stuff without the grain. I don't ever bash other companies' processes, but I am not a fan of the mycelium on grain. I never have been. I am colleagues with a lot of companies that do that method on the oats and the brown rice, but I just through all the testing we have done, especially when we launched the pure mycelium, we've been testing the mycelium on grain compared to pure mycelium. It's totally different, and
So
I'm a purist. I don't want anything added in my product that doesn't need to be there, just like my food.
Right.
I mean, I know a lot of people don't have that luxury to really like go to the rancher and buy a cow. I mean, or go do their own chicken eggs and stuff like that. And so they have to rely on the marketplace to, be ethical.
Right.
And a lot of times it's not really ethical.
Right.
But it is important when it comes to something like this, you really need to understand labels. You need to just ask these questions. And most importantly, you need to find a product that's going to jive with you and help you, that you're going to feel.
Right.
You shouldn't have to take a lot to feel better. If it's a good product, we always say you should take less because of the potency.
Yep. That's same in our space.
Right.
Awesome. Okay. So looking for a mushroom product, you want the blend of mycelium plus the fruiting body, but on the fruiting body side, you have to make sure that it's extracted to get kind of the full spectrum of the additional nutrients from the
Beta-glucans and mushrooms, like all the compounds. So like, again, cordycepian, that is one of the main therapeutic benefits of cordyceps. So you would only get that through extraction.
Right. Okay.
Not just a dried powder. And I'm not saying like we're one of the only companies doing both mycelium and fruit. So I'm not trying to promote my company. You don't need to go buy my stuff. I'm just saying like, even if you just want a good product, you really want to find something that's pure and clean and has been extracted.
Right.
And you look at the other ingredients. If there's a whole list of things in the other ingredients, you should put that down. Especially I've seen companies coming out with mushroom tablets and they have all kinds of stuff in there.
Totally.
They have herbs, they have all this other stuff. And then there's like a laundry list of other ingredients. And I'm like, they're calling it a mushroom product. There's no mushrooms in those products. Like maybe 2 milligrams. I'm kidding.
Okay. So reading labels is important.
Right.
Definitely understanding like labels is like the absolute key, it seems.
Right.
Cool. All right. So when it comes to mushroom strains, we were talking earlier how there's hundreds of different mushroom strains out there. If I'm just kind of getting into the space, what would you say like the top 5 mushroom strains people should be looking at or interested in for, let's say, somebody getting in their 40s and
like me,
older? Yeah,
I'm already almost in my 50s. Oh my gosh. Jesus. So I'm only going to really talk about the mushrooms that are pretty popular already here in North America, because I sure in the heck don't want to say, oh, you should go find this mushroom and then it's not even sold in the store. Right. So if you're new to mushrooms or you're not new to mushrooms, I would say lion's mane, of course, reishi, chaga, cordyceps, and turkey tail is a good one. Those are primarily the 5 that most every company focuses on. I mean, there's other mushrooms like shiitake. Like we sell shiitake. We're one of the very few that do. And I feel like more companies should. It is the strongest, hands down. If I was in the middle of the desert and I only could take one mushroom with me, it'd be shiitake.
Really?
And it's also great for aging as our brains get like depleted. And I mean, it's even been shown in studies, when we age, we don't absorb nutrients correctly anymore. And you got to think a lot of our stuff is pretty depleted.
For sure.
Shiitake has been proven to keep vital nutrients in our body flow, in our brain, of like B vitamins, folate, all of that to help with anti-aging, memory. Also, shiitake really is hands down my favorite. It's the only mushroom you really need, except like it does help with brain tissue regrowth, just like lion's mane helps with the nerve growth factor. So lion's mane is very beneficial. But okay, so shiitake is a good one. And that's something that you can find in a store. Even eat a lot of shiitake. Well, you'd have to eat a lot to get like a big dose.
Right.
But let's talk. Do you want me to kind of go over what these are good for?
Yeah.
Okay. So lion's mane, of course, has like probably been the #1 brain support mushroom forever. Ever since I started my company. It just seems like everyone knows lion's mane. It's great for not only neuropathy, the nerve growth factor, acuity, focusing, people that are coming off of drugs and alcoholism. It helps, PTSD, people with dementia, MS, Parkinson's, and everything I'm talking about, by the way, there's clinicals backing this, like on PubMed. Yep. So you can really geek out if you really want to see the clinical side of it. So it's not making claims or anything.
Right.
It's great for kids that struggle with ADHD or ADD. It's also great for, just mental health overall support. And it's also great for your digestive system. So lion's mane is truly going to be the brain awake mushroom. It's going to encompass everything like that, but it's also going to do the brain-gut connection. It's an anti-inflammatory. So I feel like this is one that you can benefit from, say you're a college student to someone that's getting in their 50s and forgetting where they put their keys.
Right.
Or brain fog.
Right.
Concussions.
Oh, yeah. That's
all that. One. So, and this also, lion's mane is not something you would take in the evening, because it is a stimulant. Okay. And when I say stimulant, just keeps you up. Right. Reishi is such a beautiful, underrated mushroom. I mean, everyone thinks it's like the mushroom of immortality. In ways it is, but shiitake is actually. I really push shiitake. Yeah. You go to China or any parts of Japan, it's worshipped, like we were talking about with maitake. But reishi is the calming mushroom. It really is good for stress, fatigue, adrenal, thyroid support. It's great for cortisol balancing. So in a study they did, they showed out of a whole bunch of different natural remedies, reishi was #1 for insomnia.
Wow.
So it really is great for sleep. So if you struggle with sleep, just take it before you go to bed. Yeah. But you can't be dooms, whatever that is, scrolling on your phone. It's great for allergies. It's great for respiratory, cardiovascular, blood support, The one thing about reishi, so there are some drug interactions with some of these mushrooms. There's only a few. Reishi is a mushroom you can't take if you're on a blood thinner because it naturally thins the blood.
Yeah. So you would, interesting.
Yeah. So we tried to put that on our label for a long time, but the FDA wouldn't allow it. Just like a warning, like, hey, if you're on any kind of medicine, but now we're starting to say it. We just don't care. Right. Because I do not want anyone to take reishi and then end up in the hospital, right?
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, but reishi is truly a calming mushroom. It's also great for female health, menopause. So you're talking about, women and people going into their late 40s, 50s. Well, that's the time you start hitting menopause.
Right.
So it's really good for menopause, hot flashes, pre, post, even younger girls that are having hard premenstrual cycles. Right. It's really going to be good for women's health as well.
Wow.
So liver detoxification. Cordyceps, I always say it's the man's mushroom, even though it's great for women as well. but it's really good for like libido, testosterone, hormonal support, because a lot of things aren't catered to men. If you go into these stores, it's like, oh, women's health.
Right. Yeah.
Cordyceps is going to be a man's best friend. I always say that.
Okay,
it's also energizing, energy, stamina, endurance. If you're doing a hike for high altitude, it's great for oxygen intake, chronic muscle fatigue. So someone pre-post workout, they're going to want to do cordyceps before their workout, but they can even do it after, and it helps with chronic muscle fatigue.
Wow.
It is truly the energizer mushroom. I always look at cordyceps like brother and sister because they really go hand to hand. But it is something that this mushroom is not something you would take in the evening because it will keep you up all night.
Right.
And it's that there's no drug interaction with cordyceps. So it's safe. We've seen a lot of great results, and I know people probably don't want to hear this, but men that have ED, cordyceps has helped a lot with blood flow and stuff like that. Even with women that as they're going through hormonal changes, the flow and blood changes. Right. Cordyceps is amazing for that.
Wow.
And then we have chaga, which I will never take chaga again unless I'm not in remission. It is number one, I feel, for any kind of digestive support. You know, it's going to help with IBS, leaky gut, Crohn's, colitis, any kind of constipation. Also, what's really great about chaga, it's also one of the number one best mushrooms for any skin issues, like eczema, psoriasis. It works from the inside out, and like or like bug bites or anything. So all those moms with kids, they could take a little chaga paste, put it on a mosquito bite, a rash. You know, it's a beauty mushroom as well. Women can put it on their take their favorite mask, like oil or whatever, and then they just put it on their face as a. Yeah, you should have your wife do that. She'll come out going like, "What the heck did you tell me to do, Chase?"
Do they sell like chaga face masks, or is this like you just get the powder?
Yeah, you just get the powder.
Make your
own. Mean, that would be great. Somebody should come out with one. When I was going through my health issues, I was making my own chaga suppositories.
Wow.
And I almost thought about launching them, but it would have been more integrated toward doctors. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, geez, I don't really know if I want to go down that route because there's a lot of red tape.
Oh, for sure.
When you start selling like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But chaga truly is good for the skin. It's great for diabetes, blood pressure, cardiovascular, all of that as well. Energy, endurance. It's antiviral. I mean, it's one that really will protect you from a lot of free radicals as well. Stress. But I always say chaga truly is more the gut mushroom. But the thing is about all these mushrooms, they're going to help your whole body.
Yeah, they're adaptogens.
Some will do better than others. Like not all mushrooms are going to help you with brain support. Right. Unfortunately, there's like shiitake, tremella, and lion's mane are the top brain mushrooms. So chaga is not going to do anything for your brain. I mean, it's going to help with stress, which is mental health, right? But it really is a digestive one. And the one thing I will say about chaga, and like I was talking to you about this earlier, if you have major gut issues and you start taking chaga, you're going to feel like crap, literally, because all mushrooms are detoxifiers. It doesn't matter what health condition you have. The mushrooms, I always say, are like little scrubbers. They go in there and they scrub down your system. They break down through cells, everything. They detoxify you. And so when you detoxify, you feel bad, especially gut support. It's worse because you're running to the bathroom. Right. But if you just can be patient and just keep being consistent and then say, okay, maybe I shouldn't take this during the day. Yeah. Maybe I take this when I'm at home at night. So the bathroom's right there. And just push through it. Then these mushrooms, and this is all species, they're going to start rebuilding, rebalancing, and make you healthy. You know, I mean, I don't even take chaga anymore. And I don't have the gut issues that I had when I started. Yeah. So it true. And these are all mushrooms. You need to look at it like that with all species. Right. Turkey tail got really popular back in 2014 because of breast cancer research.
Yep.
It was the first time that FDA approved clinical trials with a mushroom and breast cancer here in the US.
I know a couple of people that used high dose turkey tail and put their cancer in remission.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So in other countries, mushrooms have been used for clinical, like illness, cancer, everything forever.
Right. It's integrated in their society.
Right. Yeah. For a long time. But when the FDA was like, hey, we're going to approve this, that was a huge momentum, right? Oh, yeah. You'd be like, oh my gosh, they're actually looking at something outside of pharmaceuticals.
They're validating it.
Right. So it truly, I mean, turkey tail is great for the immune system. It also, there's a lot of backing when it comes to, cancer, stuff like that. But one of the coolest things I found out about turkey tail, because turkey tail is like one of the mushroom species that, we dive into all these other ones really deep, but turkey tail is kind of just left out. It's the coolest looking one. It's beautiful. It looks like a turkey tail. It can be pink, red, orange, blue. It's the most beautiful mushroom. But there's so much that this species does that we still haven't discovered, right? It's like kind of like the one in the back. But recently I found out that taking turkey tail is better than taking a probiotic.
Wow.
Right. So, and that's on PubMed, by the way. I was blown away because of the healthy flora, the gut support, the lining, the bad bacteria to the good, the whole micro, right? And so they did a study, and I think they compared it to maybe a dairy probiotic. And again, mushrooms are food. Food assimilates and absorbs better in our body than synthetic dairy is like considered dairy.
It seems like a lot of
but it's the way they make it is not.
Yeah, like a lot of the probiotics that you buy in like kombucha and stuff, isn't that all just synthetic?
Yeah,
like
and it's strains.
Yeah,
it's like they're growing these cultures, and then I don't know. So I get off, like people offer me supplements all the time because I'm in the industry. And I'm so bad. Like I do the mushrooms, but I try to get most of my nutritional value from my foods.
Yeah, same.
I just eat good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do eat bad too.
Yeah.
I'm human.
Yeah.
But I will use mushrooms as a preventative. This is something that people should be taking every day. Like it doesn't matter. Like you can eat healthy. And I love the customers that are so healthy. And then I say, okay, just try my product. I want you to try it for 30 days. And then I want you to stop for 2 weeks. And you come back and you tell me the difference. Every time they're just like, whoa.
Yep.
I can tell the difference.
Yeah. I feel like the two supplements that are like that for my personal experience are cannabinoids and mushrooms. Like I can definitely tell.
You've been doing mushrooms forever.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely tell when I, am not taking my, I've gotten a ton of powder from you over the years.
Oh my God.
So like,
you're like,
really, I have a half a section in my pantry of
just
like
mixed
all of the different, it's like the 1 kilo bags.
Yeah.
Oh so I make my own capsules. And when I miss it, it's like, why am I off today? Like I didn't take my capsule. Right. And I think that's the beautiful thing about CBD or, cannabis and mushrooms is that the two of them combined is just off the charts.
Right.
Like experience, like how it changes your physiology,
right?
Biology, your energy. It's so noticeable. And it's like the two together pair so well,
right?
Like very well.
I'm a big supporter of CBD. I mean, I'm not an expert in it. I wish I could use CBD. I am ultra sensitive to it. I mean, there's times, and whenever I have tried, it's yours. And then I have my friend that's no longer in the farming world, but it's just like, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because like, so I do CBD and I feel like, oh my God, what's going on? Like I almost feel stoned, but I'm not. Right. And then So I'm super, super sensitive to it, but I know it's so beneficial because I've seen so many people and the benefits, like my best friend, it's changed her life.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about mushrooms. But what's ironic is there's this gentleman that I always feel like I'm seducing people with mushrooms. I'm like, oh, just take my mushrooms,
Totally.
And
yeah.
he's a local business owner. And I decided, I was like, hey, you know what? You really need to just start taking these mushrooms. And it's been so beautiful watching him, like the growth with these mushrooms. And then he's like giving me reports like, well, I forgot to take it today. And I definitely noticed. And then it's like, oh, I tried one of the cordyceps and I just did an 8-mile hike. And I'm like, he's super sensitive to mushrooms. So the point is I'm super sensitive to CBD.
Right.
This gentleman, he's even taking one capsule and breaking it in half because he's so hypersensitive, but he's getting such amazing results and he notices, and he hasn't even been taking it that long.
Interesting.
So that's what's really cool too. And I think everyone's body is different. Like I always say, give it 2 weeks to a month. I push a month. I tell somebody, do it for 30 days. And then I want you to promise that you just stop taking my product for a little bit because I want you to really hear and feel what your body is saying to you. So you don't think I'm just trying to sell you something because that's not my intention.
Right.
And so it was really kind of cool to see this gentleman like get such quick results and he hasn't been taking it. And now he's taking it obviously all the time. And it's just like, he's become my biggest fan. I was like, dude, you are so rad.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's it's kind of the exciting time we're in our culture where there's like this shift back towards like whole foods and, getting off, like extracting yourself out of the, big pharma system.
Right.
And so this swing that's happening where, people are taking these supplements and it's like, oh my gosh, it's actually working.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh,
I
can feel it. I'm experiencing life. I'm feeling, this like longevity energy. And it's like especially the boomer generation, it's like, man, that generation got totally had and just like manipulated, because they didn't have the internet. And so, a majority of our customers are, kind of the boomer generation. And it's exciting to see that generation start to extract themselves out of, that programming into something new. And the excitement that they have of coming into this new thing with mushrooms, cannabinoids, cannabis, when it actually works, all of a sudden it's like their entire paradigm is shifting because they're like, oh my gosh.
Like, why did I wait so long?
Yeah. Why did I wait so long? It's actually working, and the excitement that they have. Yeah. It's like they want to share it not only with you, but everybody else that they know.
So I noticed, like, when we talk about the older generation to middle, young, whatever, certain parts of the states that we're in, like out of over the US. So Florida is a lot of older people.
Oh yeah.
And they're some of our best customers.
Same.
And it's great to see that because they were totally, again, it's a different time. And mushrooms, oh, that must be psychedelic. I don't want to feel weird on this. Am I going to get, no. And when you get someone that's in their 70s and 80s that can feel amazing, and they're like not taking a handful of medication. And they're instead educating them, because it's like the gateway, right? You go in and you're like, oh, I heard mushroom lion's mane. Lion's mane is the best gateway mushroom there is, because it brings someone in, they try the lion's mane and they feel so great. Then they start taking other things and then they start deep diving and educating themselves. Like, wow, look at all these great things out here that I can be incorporating into my day to day and not feel groggy, not feel tired, fatigued, especially when people get older. I mean, I can feel it now. I'm like, my hormones are changing. I'm also probably exhausted, but I think all business owners are. But I'm also to that point where I'm like, wow, I've even had to change my own dosing with my mushrooms. And because I'm always just, I'm a lot like you. I will just take my mushroom powders
Mhm.
and I'll dump them and I'll just go and scoop them. But
Yeah.
now I'm having to target focus a little bit more.
Okay.
And that's something that your consumers should really understand too. Like, you don't need to go out and buy like 5-6 mushrooms and just start taking them all.
Right.
You know, with me, if I'm pretty healthy, you know, I'll just combine whatever I have. You know, being a mushroom company, I'm able to do that and I'll just take it. But if you are trying to focus on a condition and like say it's your immune system, you need to get something for immunity.
Right.
If you're focused on the brain, you know, brain support, you're feeling, you know, foggy, depressed or anything, you really need to take a mushroom that is targeted for that, not just go in and buy anything, because all mushrooms work differently. They all support our immune system because again, the beta-glucans is the immune system of the mushroom, which helps train our immune system, no matter what species it is. But you need to be aware of like, oh, this is really cool. I want to buy a mushroom. This is a great podcast. I've learned so much. Be intentional and like listen to your body. So at least you're getting the effects that you're looking for and not getting a disappointment.
Right.
Because we've seen that as well.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, I think the cool thing about kind of your space, the mushroom space, is there is actual research and data that you can actually look at. And I remember back in the day when you kind of put me on, you know, mushrooms, and I started to get a little bit more like, okay, what's actually going on here? And the lion's mane. And then you're like, wait, lion's mane, and all this research and articles about, you know, how it helps your brain and growing new neurons and neurotransmitter. And it's just like, holy crap. You know, this is incredible. Right. And then from there, it like dovetails off into like, oh my gosh, turkey tail. There's actually real scientific studies and research that shows turkey tail and its effects on cancer. Right. So I think, you know, the cannabis space is tricky because there hasn't really been much to, you know, little to no research at all because of the way that it's classified. But on the mushroom side, you can hit PubMed and be very intentional with the ailment you have that you want to solve. Yeah. And you will find some sort of study, data, research on a specific mushroom and the ailment that you have. Right. Which is incredible. Right. And I think that's a big part of, because mushrooms have been around for so long. I mean, and a lot of these studies are out of Asia, you know, so it just, I mean, it's been proven that it's not placebo effect. And unfortunately, cannabis hasn't had that spotlight because it's always been looked at as a drug, which it's not a drug. Right. But, you know, it's always had this bad image where mushrooms have been a staple of everyday life in countries around the world. And now we're just finally part of it. Right. And there's still so much more to come. We're not even at the peak. That's why too, when customers of yours or anybody, consumers are going in and they're excited to try a mushroom, they really have got to do their due diligence and make sure they're actually getting what they're supposed to be getting and not a bunch of fluff. Right. Because it's not going to work. Yeah. Yeah. We saw it in our industry. You know, we still see it where it's
a lot of snake oil.
Yeah. People are like, CBD doesn't work for me. And it's like, well,
you're trying the wrong stuff.
Maybe there actually wasn't any CBD in it, or the CBD they claim is on the label isn't actually in it. Right. I think it's cool to hear your story on how like popular mushrooms are internationally. Because, you know, a lot of people just don't travel internationally, you know, a large portion of our culture. So, you know, we're kind of in this bubble, but like you were saying earlier, you know, you leave the country and you go into Asia and, what was the other one? Like Serbia? Yeah. We just partnered in Serbia. The lady's been growing since the 1990s, and she's one of the top mycologists with the most research on white buttons and other species globally. See, like they're all scientists that we work with.
they're not just like, yes, farmers. We work with farmers that grow, but we also have a beautiful organization of mycologists and stuff globally that this is all they do.
Yeah.
They're like doctors that are just mushrooms and fermentation, fruiting body, cancer, any kind of thing, right? Like there's a gentleman I've been working with, and I didn't mean to cut you off. There's a gentleman I'm working with right now that invented, he got a lot, it took them a long time. They did over, I think he said 10 or 15,000 human trials on a protein strip that helps with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Wow.
First ever breakthrough. And the protein, guess what it's from? Reishi.
Wow.
And it's just on this little strip you put in your mouth, and it's showing that it's helping Alzheimer's and people with dementia.
Wow.
He is one of the, I've known him, his name's Gunter. He's been around forever. He invented the first ever fully solar powered ship. I mean, he's done some crazy stuff. And the protein that they invented basically and brought to the market, it's all in pharmaceutical right now in Europe, in Asia. And he wants to bring it to the US. But like, that's the thing is, you're right. People here in the US, they're just like, they think mushrooms, again, psychedelics, or they think culinary mushrooms or mushrooms that have mold. They don't think mushrooms for medicine. You go anywhere in the world, it's part of the doctor's write-up. You know, mushrooms are also in pharmaceuticals in other countries. So like the CS4 cordyceps, which is the cordyceps mycelium, they add it to their actual pharmaceutical medications, depending on like for different treatment. So it's totally classified so different in other countries than it is here in the US. And that's why, like, when I'm saying we're in this big shroom boom, it's only gonna get bigger and bigger. And honestly, they're here to stay.
Oh, for sure.
They're not going anywhere. It's going to become the number one functional food. You're going to start seeing more doctors and clinics embracing it. You know, it's just education, you know? So,
yeah, I think that's an important part, is just that in itself of mushrooms internationally are worshipped and seen as such an integrative part of your healing that, yeah, just like we were saying, you know, it's good to see that it's finally starting to make its way to the US, where it's like, yeah, this is actually medicine, and we need to look at it as medicine, not just some. Yeah, I mean, I like how you position that. It's like, you hear mushrooms, you know, there's the psychedelic side, and there's the culinary side, but it's like there's this other segment that we should really, really be taking a look at for our health, our longevity, and that is the functional mushrooms that are worshipped across this planet for longevity, health,
immune, brain, gut, all that. It's going to help us age better. Why wouldn't you take mushrooms, right? If you can take medicinal mushrooms and save your life pretty much for clinical stuff, or just age well, why wouldn't you? It's like taking a multivitamin every day. People spend thousands of dollars buying multivitamins. Take a mushroom.
Yeah.
You're going to get more of a benefit out of a mushroom than you are a compounded multivitamin that God knows what's all in there with the additives. I'm sorry.
Totally.
I'm really weird about certain, you know, products that are out in the industry, but
it's scammy.
I mean, it's food, you know, and the thing is too, it's like, I know everyone's on this psychedelic kick lately, and there's nothing wrong with supporting psychedelics for medicine. But I also think people need to understand, you're not going to take psilocybin every single day. Why would you? You know, I mean, and if you look at all the clinical research from functional mushrooms compared to even psilocybin, functional mushrooms are always going to be up ahead. There's just more data and research for decades with these mushrooms, clear back from the 60s and 70s. Now, I'm not saying psilocybin isn't good. I do feel that I'm a big advocate for it as well. And I'm more on the clinical side more than the recreational side, because I want to see people get better. But it's like, even when people come and talk to us, because we started doing our own manufacturing in Oregon a while back, and I started making my own formulations and putting it into clinics. And I kind of stepped back from it because I was like, I'm just going to continue my spore jive with functional. I'm a big supporter of psychedelics, but I was seeing a lot of overuse. I was also seeing a lot of clinicians not being very sustainable with you shouldn't have to charge people like they are, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a whole other a whole other conversation. But I just know at the end of the day, there's more people in the US that will take functional mushrooms and they're going to be able to microdose. You're going to, because a lot of people with their morals, their religion, how they feel.
Right.
And so if you want to be healthy, you take these mushrooms, you find what's good for you. If you don't know, take a mushroom just for overall immune health, right? You can take it with other supplements. Actually, mushrooms help better absorption with other supplements that you're taking. They're going to break down better in your body. They're going to absorb better, and so they complement other supplements that you would be taking, and they're not going to have a weird contradiction. The only time you're going to have a contradiction, like I said, is if you have gut issues because they detox you. Right. Your gut's going to feel not so great. Yeah. But it goes away.
Right.
Right. So.
Wow. Incredible, Jamie. You are the mushroom queen.
I feel like my brain sometimes, I'm always like, okay, don't put the mushroom before the spore, Jamie. Like my little innuendos, but
no, I love it. And people are hungry. People are hungry for this type of information, and we'll definitely have you back on to dive deeper into the science side of it. Like this was super high level, just introducing people
geek out to the science, because there's some pretty cool things. And then too, I always feel there's a lot of great resources out there for education, and I know you guys as a company educate a lot. The one thing I will say with consumers that you have, or any consumer, just don't go to just Google and believe everything you see. Like, fact check it.
Yeah.
Go to PubMed.
I would live on PubMed I did originally when, you introduced me to the world of mushrooms. Right. And, that's definitely where I would recommend
I was dosing
people spending their time.
All kinds of stuff. And then when I started my company, I felt so humbled, but then I felt a little embarrassed, because when I worked for this other company doing their demos, I was in a mushroom bubble. I thought I was like, wow, this is the best in the whole world, and I got to get everyone taking this. And what's really funny, I didn't use that product when I was healing myself. I made my own medicine. Yeah. So I couldn't really compare. Right. But when the bubble popped, and I was even trying to get you on it. And when the bubble popped, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, wow, well, I feel stupid, and I feel really dumb that I've just been spending these years trying to help people, and I wasn't even really helping them. And that was part of why I started my company. It was never about profit. We're not a company about profit. Yeah, we need to be sustainable. Right. But it was always about that mission to help people. And so I've even had to kind of be humble as well. Like the mycelium. Right. I was like the biggest fruiting body.
Yeah, I remember.
Don't you take anything but fruit.
I remember.
And then now I'm just like, wow, if I could, it's just all part of evolving and learning.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you.
Thanks.
We'll definitely have you back on.
Thank you.
And check out our company, Wholesome Wellness. Obviously, best mushroom supplements on the market. And appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next episode.